excited to say it's now time to meet our first speakers. Established in 2018, Archief Cairo is a multilingual lab for research, preservation, and communication, founded by 4 creatives, including Hannah Newman and Maram Al-Rafai. The design collective started by documenting the vernacular of the street, capturing the visual essence of the Egyptian capital. Well, today, Hannah and Maram are going to be talking to us specifically about an extraordinary project that began around 2 years ago, when Archief Cairo started work reviving the only letterpress in the world that can print hieroglyphics. It's a really mind-blowing project, and we're very delighted to have Hannah and Maram joining us today to talk about it. Hello to you both.
Hello.
Hi.
Hey,
how
everyone.
are you?
Hey, Matt. Everything's good. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks. Are you both in Cairo at the moment?
Yes.
Yes.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah.
Wonderful. Welcome to Nicer Tuesdays, and thank you so much for joining us. It's incredible to have you here. I'm going to disappear now, and it's going to be over to you for your talk. So I'll see you in around 10 minutes. But remember, everyone at home, please think about questions that you want to ask and pop them in the chat for us to see. All right, over to you two.
Thank you, Matt. Hey, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here and share our work with you. I'm Madame Rifai, and this is my friend Hannah Norman, and we're part of the Archief Cairo team. First off, who are we? We are a multilingual experimental lab that is based in Cairo, Egypt. Our studio came to life back in 2018 and was co-founded by Hannah, myself, Ryan, and Shireen, who are also watching right now. What we do, we focus on research, preservation, communication. Because Archive Cairo emerged in Egypt, we're always keen to use Arabic language in design and in most of things we do. Our Ryan here is German, so we want to communicate in German whenever possible. Of course, the English language is our second main communication channel, accompanied by Arabic English. We reach audiences through education, and this happens by learning, understanding, teaching, and communicating. The topics we tackle include awareness, culture, and identity. We consider ourselves very lucky to live in Cairo, one of the most diverse, dynamic cities out there. It triggers all of our senses. It's unpredictable and always leaves us on the top of a hill, so wondered and overwhelmed. We give you here a microscopic view of the now and what we document daily. We find all sorts of things like stickers, signages, sounds, and many others to create a unique identity and discover Cairo's non-academic design scene with all its different layers. Our work ranges from personal, self-initiated to commercial commission projects by clients. We also run our own poster design workshops, branding, and editorial work. As much as we acknowledge the importance of the now, we highly involved in what has been. Our star project of our talk today is the art of letterpress, one of our exceptional projects that unfortunately went through a long pause since the pandemic started. We want to give you a quick tour inside the IFAU. The IFAU, which is short for the French Institute for Oriental Archaeology, is, as a whole, a super beautiful place with so much greenery and bright natural lights. We specifically focused on the Printing House Conservatory, which has all the gold historical letterpress engines. It's a small room built in 1907 and has all sorts of machines, tools, and spare parts. Everything inside is part of an actual fully functional printing house back in the days. Worked for nearly a century and considered as the best Orientalist printing house around the world. Of course, none of this would have been achieved if it weren't for our very dear, beautiful Regina Ramlet, who are also with us. She's the head of printing at the German University in Cairo, our lead and supervisor of this project. Her great knowledge in printing has helped us to understand the process and fall in love with this place even more.
So, understanding why this print house exists in the institute from the very beginning. So the idea was initiated by one of the institute's directors called Emile Chassena, who found it would be a very good idea to have his own publishing house in order to publish the different findings and research that the institute conducted in Cairo. And while he was reflecting on that, various excavations they did was actually around the ancient Egyptian civilization. And he found the need to develop his own hieroglyphic font to reproduce and document the different inscriptions they discovered on the temple walls. And being an Egyptologist himself, he decided to hand design more than 7,500 characters of hieroglyphs that they can be found right now in the Institute's museum. And this is actually the real fame of the Institute until now, because actually this specific font is very valued by multiple Egyptologists because they find it very similar to the signs they found on the engraved temples and columns. However, one must mention that it's not only challenging to create the font itself, but even assembling it is very hard. Actually, the typesetter had to hand compose the pages sign by sign, line by line, and it could take up to 3 days to make one page, but also 7 years to make one book. And they also had to do this process while standing up in front of this large wooden cabinet, and it contained all the lead types. They were arranged in a way where they had the capital letters on top, on the top cases, and then the small letters on the bottom cases. And this is where the terms uppercase and lowercase comes, and that we're using right now. One of the most precious treasures actually of this museum is this cabinet that you see in front of you right now. Actually, when we first arrived, it was locked and no one really knew what was actually inside this cabinet. And when Professor Regina asked to open it, the first reaction we heard was, "Oh my God, this is gold, you guys are rich." And as you can see, it's multiple drawers that are filled with different matrices from the hieroglyphic font, but also from other languages and typefaces. And this is how it looks from the inside. So each drawer has the original matrices, and we spent so many hours and so many days exploring each and every drawer, taking pictures and documenting what's inside and what's even missing. So after coming to this institute with the intention to document the place, we found ourselves extremely eager to communicate what we saw inside this place to other people and make use of the different machines that they were there. This is where we wanted to really start to make those machines work again and maybe conduct a workshop there. And we started by cleaning the machines, oiling them, getting maintenance, getting new spare parts. And one of the machines that we had it work was a printing machine that dated back to the 19th century. And along with Professor Regina and her assistant, Mr. Muhammad, they were able to make it work again, as you can see here. So the main idea of this specific machine is there's like a lead page that is fixed vertically, and then there's a cylinder of ink that goes over this lead page, and then it gets pressed on a paper. The next machine that we made it work is the monotype. The monotype was actually used by the institute in its as a publishing method until 1992, and we were lucky enough to meet one of the very old workers that used to work on this machine, and he was called Mr. Hossam, and he helped us to make it work again after 30 years. So we made like a video of the whole process. So this is the final result of the machine, which are the different lines of lead letters that is then pressed into paper. So very quickly, the process of the machine is basically, it starts with the keyboard, and the keyboard is changed according to the language. And while the person is typing on the keyboard, the paper gets a certain combination of holes. So this certain combination of holes is then taken, put again into the monotype machine, and then following this combination, you get different letters according to the matrix that you see on the top left. So the final outcome we wanted to do is to actually use those machines in order to have a workshop. Unfortunately, like Maram said, with the pandemic, as you can see, everything has to be in the physical space, has to be stopped. However, we are very, very happy we were part of it. We're very proud of this project, and we hope that soon we will be able to continue. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much, Maram and Hannah. That was absolutely amazing. Amazing to see those videos of the whole kind of craft coming together. Yeah, really extraordinary. I guess just to let you know, so we've got a couple of questions for you. Everyone at home, if you have a question, do pop it in the chat and I'll do my best to ask it for you. But I think, Maram, it'd be great to come to you first. You did touch on this a little bit in your talk, but I was wondering, what was the original reason for setting up Archief Cairo? What did you feel was missing from, I guess, the documentation of your city that you wanted to add to that?
Well, I think the idea itself started in the last year before we graduate from university. We felt that we needed actually a place to explore and do what we actually learned from our university outside, because it's really rare to practice what we learned in Cairo itself. So it felt best to create a space that we can actually continue what we started in university, because what we started was a really nice project that we thought could grow bigger and have more to it, and also involve the outsiders who explores the similar interests.
That's amazing that a kind of a uni project has grown like that into something that's still going many years later. It's great. Hannah, I mean, you were talking us through the kind of craft of the letterpress there, and the fact that it might take 7 years to create a book, which is kind of amazing. did it give you a different idea, a different kind of perspective on the craft of design? I mean, did it get you thinking about the work or your work in a different way? I mean, I can imagine seeing that level of craft must change your perspective a little bit.
I think if you see it in a more holistic point of view, in terms of how every method has a different purpose or complements a different concept, then you can really appreciate each method, and you can't just like say, for example, letterpress is better than offset printing or better than digital printing. No, it really depends on what you want to communicate and what is the purpose of the whole project, and then you can use the different methods to really enhance whatever you want to say. And for us, letterpress can be one of those methods, since it has a very different feel of printing, a different texture. However, again, if you want to do like a whole book, I don't know, 700 pages, a million copies, then you can do it on a letterpress. So it really depends on the final outcome that you want.
Yeah, it's a very good point. Probably not the best, the most suitable printer for that. Madame, we've had a really interesting question come through from Jamie. How long did it take you to get used to the processes in order to create the project? How long did it take to kind of master these new processes?
Really, there wasn't a very specific plan or a specific timeline that we did beforehand and stick to. Everything came with like yeah, like at the moment. So everything decisions came when we went and see everything alive, and then accordingly we took steps that could actually suit what's going on right now. So by that I mean, if we want to come the next day, or if we want to do the work in a week, we do that in a week. If it takes 2 days, we do that in 2 days. So it wasn't really specific, or we studied it. It was really coincidental. I hope I answered the question.
No, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think so, absolutely. Hannah, maybe one for you here. A question from Carly. Are there any examples of the final printing from the old presses that we could see? Maybe, I don't know if we can point the audience in the direction of where they might be able to see some images of that.
Right now on the spot, I don't have it, but maybe we can share it on our story or somewhere, because on the spot I can't find it.
No, of course. I think that's a good point.
It is present in the museum, because they already have old like books that were printed with those machines.
Absolutely, and a good opportunity to say everyone should be following Archief Cairo from now on. Madame, maybe just finally, you obviously mentioned that the pandemic has kind of interrupted work. Do you have any plans looking forwards for when you might get back to it and start the project up again? I obviously appreciate the pandemic isn't over, but what are the kind of plans for the future?
So you mean if there's like a future for this specific project, or like in general?
Yeah, sorry. For this, yeah.
For this, well, we actually we paused in a very early stage where we're still studying everything, and when we get back, we still have a lot to document and a lot to figure out, so we can actually do a workshop. Still, there are so many machines, or still so many elements that we don't know how it works, or that needs a lot of study. So I think this is one of the first things that we will do. We will continue to we'll continue doing this process, and then hopefully we can establish a workshop that can help people actually use those machines.
Oh, it's amazing. So exciting. Well, listen, thank you so much. We're probably going to have to leave it there just because of time. But thank you so much, Hannah and Madame, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Matt.
take
Thank you for
care.
everything.
Not at all. No, thank you for joining us. And yeah, we'll follow your story very eagerly.